Hi, everybody. I'm Jay Privman, the national correspondent for the Daily Racing Form, and for the 19th straight year, joined by Mike Watchmaker. He's the national handicapper for Daily Racing Form, and today, Wednesday, we unveiled the first Derby Watch Top 20 of the year. And Mike, this is always a fun time for me. I enjoy the process with you, but it was kind of a difficult decision, I think, that you had to make. After we decided who the 20 were, then you had to rank them in odds order, and it seemed as though the Holy Bull was the race to focus on, but at the end of the day, you decided that Classic Empire still should be listed as the favorite, with Irish Warcry one of the top contenders. Give me your thought process on that.
Well, right, Jay. I mean, Classic Empire, of course, did not run particularly well in the Holy Bull, but the fact that he was such a heavy favorite going into the race, and he was such a heavy future book Kentucky Derby favorite prior to that race, combined with the fact that he was a unanimous Eclipse Award winner over this division last year. And then he came out of the race with an excuse. I mean, at least it wasn't a totally mystifying race. I mean, he had an abscess, and that could explain his dull efforts. So when I took all of those things into collectively, I decided that I would still keep Classic Empire a very narrow favorite over McCracken, who remained undefeated by winning his 3-year-old bound, who we'll get to in a moment. But it's very close. I have Classic Empire at 5-1 and McCracken at 6-1. You just can't have horses closer than that. There's no clicks in between 5-1 and 6-1. So, I think it could go either way, but I think the champ still has his big reputation, and that's why I went with him as the favorite.
And obviously all eyes will be on him when he makes his second start as a 3-year-old. But the first start as a 3-year-old for Irish Warcry certainly was an impressive-looking one in the Holy Bull. Your thoughts on how he performed in that race?
It was a strong performance. If you want to quibble, you could say that he got away with an easier early lead in that race, and he did. But there's nothing that says that Irish Warcry is a front-running type. I mean, he just might have fallen out in the lead, and he just ran well, but he came from way out of it to win his debut. He looks like a horse that could probably win from anywhere on the racetrack if necessary. So he's a kind of horse that I would not be inclined to downgrade just because he got away with an easy early lead. I think there's a lot more to this horse than he's even shown to date.
And as you mentioned, McCracken is the second choice on your future line right now at 6-1. He remained unbeaten last Saturday when he won the Sam Davis Stakes in his first start as a 3-year-old. What did you think of his performance that day?
It was a solid effort. He's now 4 for 4, and he loves Churchill, and he's got a closing style that you would think would probably work well in a Kentucky Derby that more often than not has an abundance of early speed in it. The only concern I have with the Davis is that it got a 95 buyer speed figure, and 6 of the 9 horses who competed in the Sam Davis exited that race with a career best buyer figure. And that includes horses that were badly beaten in the race. And when something like that happens, it makes me wonder about the veracity of the number. And I want to see a little bit more from McCracken in terms of speed figures. But there's no question that this is a very talented racehorse. And given his connections, and I know that you've written about it, given his connections, you figure he's only going to get better as we get closer to the Derby.
Yeah, we've seen over the years that Ian Wilkes, as he did it with Fort Larned, into the Breeders' Cup Classic, and before that when he was an assistant for Carl Napster when they won a couple Kentucky Derbies with Unbridled and Street Sense, they know how to build a horse towards a big race, and I fully expect McCracken to improve over his next couple of preps and to show his absolute best on Derby Day. Mike, let's take a look now on the West Coast, and the most prominent horse out here is the unbeaten Mastery. His last start was in the Los Alamitos Futurity. We'll see him next month when he runs in either the San Felipe or the Rebel. Your thoughts on how he progressed at age 2?
Well, you certainly can't argue with perfection, and he was perfect in all 3 of his starts last year. He did get very easy on the lead trips in his 2 stakes wins, but maybe I'm in a forgiving mood this year. I don't know, Jay, but he showed a lot of ability even with his easy trips. And he's in the hands of Bob Baffert, who certainly knows what to do with a good horse. And, I think Mastery is one of the ones. I have him ranked as my fourth choice on the line. Of course, we rank horses in Derby Watch according to my future odds. I have them at 10-1, Irish War Cry at 8-1, and as we said earlier, Classic Empire narrowly over McCracken 5-1 and 6-1.
So those are the top four in Mike's odds order on our Derby Watch Top 20. For all 20 runners, you can see the comments that we have on all 20 horses, where they're expected to run next, who their jockeys are going to be. All of that is available at drf.com. Make sure you come back here next week as we review the races from this past weekend, which will include the Southwest Stakes on Monday. A couple of horses in that race, uncontested and looking at Lee, are on our top 20, and we'll also preview the races that weekend as well. For Mike Watchmaker, I'm Jay Privman. Thanks for joining us as we head down the road to the Kentucky Derby.